This is my base on one of these damn planets. I don't know. But what I want to show you is the cheese that is cheating with ease, or not cheats that basically aren't really cheats. This is a trick in No Man's Sky because the main thing, three things that you need for just about everything are oxygen, carbon, and condensed carbon. And it can be a pain in the ass to run around and grab it, and you really can't buy carbon in the market, but you can buy oxygen. And you can do this in the market, but goddamn teleporter. You can do this in the market, but it's actually really easy to do just on a planet. God dang it. Hang on. These teleporters are usually pretty useful. I've just confused myself. As I step off of them, they teleport me back. But anyway, this is my planet, and as you can see, I don't use solar power. I use a fuck ton of these electromagnetic generators. That's not really a trick. The trick is this. Little known fact, when you reprocess carbon with oxygen, normally if you process carbon, it gives you a limited amount of oxygen. Of condensed carbon. However, if you process it with oxygen, it processes it 3-to-1. Why is that important? Well, oxygen processes into carbon at 1-to-1. And carbon can be a pain. It's everywhere, but it's just who wants to spend all their time grabbing it, you know? So what you do, you set up one of these oxygen collectors, and then you set up some atmosphere harvesters because you can only set up one oxygen harvester per base. Now, it takes a while for them to collect what they're collecting. They use condensed carbon or carbon for fuel, but that's not a problem, as you'll see in a second. So, you grab the oxygen and convert it to carbon. Then you wait a while and come back, as I'm doing here, and you grab some oxygen. You don't need that much, but you'll see what I'm doing in a second, how much I get from this. So this is basically an oxygen farm. This is essentially a barren, but it has a breathable atmosphere, so I don't waste any resources running around on this planet or this base. And there's no sentinels here, and there aren't that many animals, but the few that are here are these bugs, and they're kind of harmless. Anyway, so you grab your oxygen, you already have your carbon, and then you go to a processor. Now, in the beginning of the game, your processor can only process one. Oh yeah, by the way, this is my farm. I told you it was a monstrosity. Yeah, it's huge. I'd view it from the outside, but I want to make the video 1,000 years long, so we'll just take my word for it. It's a big place. So anyway, up here we have our processors. And there's a lot of weird little tricks like this, like, dihydrogen. You need it for your frigates, and it's a pain in the ass. I haven't really found a way to get tritium this cheap, but I usually just buy it. Okay, so I've got carbon in the first slot in the processor. Now I got 207 oxygen. And you'll see it's 3-to-1 for the oxygen. So I'm getting 515 carbon for one, it's 3 units of condensed carbon for 1 unit of carbon and 1 unit of oxygen. You can do this indefinitely, especially if you have harvesters, because your condensed carbon fuels your harvesters, and you can max out your condensed carbon that way. And being that you need condensed carbon for all kinds of things, that can be somewhat helpful in producing condensed carbon. Another trick, you can't buy dihydrogen, and dihydrogen is a pain in the ass to mine because you only get like 50 of it for those little patches, and maybe 60 if you find one of the big ones. But there's a kind of a cheaper way. This thing here, hang on. The dihydrogen jelly, they do sell in the market. They don't sell dihydrogen, but they sell dihydrogen jelly. Now, I will make one just to show you. When you buy dihydrogen, you can buy it usually 40 to 50 of them. And you throw that into a processor. For each one, you get 50 dihydrogen. And if you don't want to spend all your time running around looking for those little blue patches, this is a good way to get your dihydrogen up to pretty high levels. The only thing is you'll still have to buy tritium or tritanium or whatever it is. I get my games mixed up. But yeah, that is how to... Oh, I guess while I'm here, I can show you my other ships. Yeah, if you're not building these portals on your base, it's a good idea to have all your bases networked. Not only can you get from base to base, but you can get from system to system very fast. You don't have to spend all your time running from pirates and all that other stuff. You can do most of your building and buying and selling and all that without dealing with all the troublesome bullshit that you have to deal with in the game. And that is part of the game, but sometimes you just don't want to deal with it. That's how things go. But anyway, I keep my freighter right in front of this system, and this is kind of my home system. I've got bases on every planet, and this is the Green Hornet. It's I didn't start out as an S-class, but you can see it's a pretty decent fighter, but that's not the one I want to show you. The ones I want to show you are here. In the capital ship, and it's always a pain docking with your capital ship. You see those other ships, those are my frigates. They go out on missions. And like I said, I have an actual base. You can't port to your base on the freighter, but you can port from it. So you'll see I have an entire base all the way up here. Oh, the other ships, yeah. Now when you go to the anomaly, and if the anomaly shuts down when you go to it, I can tell you what the fix is, but I'll leave it there. This is the living ship. It's a really good in just about everything. It hauls, it fights, and it has a good range. You can see the controls. It's all pretty much... you don't have systems, you have organs. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. My other ship, this is the one I like the most. It's really crappy in combat, but it has just insane range. This the all-seeing eye. This one, I just like the way it looks, but also it's an exploration ship, and you see it has the maximum hyperdrive range, and you want to have at least one of these and a fighter. The all-purpose ships, like the living ship or shuttles, it's debatable. They're good. And you want to have a hauler. This was literally the game I started the first ship I got, not the first ship I got initially with the game, but it was the first ship I actually took over from a wreck. And it's not pretty, but the main thing about haulers is they're, you can see I can carry all kinds of shit, and you'll even use that for storage. Everybody needs a hauler. Let me run back. And as you can see, you can even sit on your own freighter and wait for ships to come in. They leave and come and go. And another thing is, if we ever do multiplayer, you can have other players on your freighter. And it's a good way for people who are playing in a multiplayer game to travel together, because you can't travel in each other's ships, but you can travel in the freighter. And your freighter, probably pretty good, but you know, you can actually color it. See, I got this one going purple, and there's also some things about the base on the freighter that you may not know. It loads a little slow. But anyway, when you get the freighter, you have this room here. You can build other rooms. These are for your frigates. You can see I've got some frigates on missions. And that's how you talk to them and get their stuff. And you can build little ancillary rooms, like this allows me to build my vehicles while I'm running around on the ships, or summon them while I'm fixing the ships. Doesn't seem like something you use very often, and you probably won't, but there are some situations. And these are the storage containers. They look different than when you put a storage container in a normal base. But this gives you the freighter cargo hold, but also gives you your own. And this is my little base area, the processors and whatnot. And like I said, you can port away from your freighter, but you can't port into it. And this is my settlement. And something I found out about settlements that might actually help. You can't build a base in a settlement, but you can build one fairly close to it. The trick is to go out to where you can actually claim land and then build your base towards it. The base I had to build a lot towards it because you can't claim land on the actual city itself. But this allows you to kind of have kind of like having a mansion just outside of the town that you run. It's not a bad thing. And where is it? But you can build vehicles nearby, as I've done. Oh, there it is. Yeah, and you see that up there? That is the... And this place has got high sentinel activity. It's a real pain in the ass. But you'll actually want to have a place with high sentinel activity because you actually use the sentinels to build upgrades for your frigates. So you'll want to start taking out sentinels once you can actually best them in a fight. Yeah, this is a poison planet with radioactive storms. Could not be a worse option for a settlement of any kind. It's literally hostile. Yeah, I ended up having to... I don't know why that's floating, but you know. Yeah, I got the settlement up to B class, and this is in 2 days. So it's not hard. And, you know, again, there's little money-making tricks and things like that. I I'm actually having trouble at this point because I've got everything so upgraded. I'm really just the thing I'm looking for is interesting multi-tools and ships. Because I think you can have 9 ships. I've got 4, one of each major type. But there's my bike. And you can put down other exocraft. I prefer the bike for this planet because it's small and nimble, and you can go in between stuff, and that's really useful for getting away from sentinels. Where the fuck is my office? It's around here somewhere. Oh, right by it. But yeah, you see I've got all the negative stuff taken out. For some reason they're not as happy as they used to be, but I've got my productivity up so that I have no debt. So anytime I have a decision to make, I incur debt deliberately because debt is just not an issue. Let's see what they want me to build. I don't need another Stardock. I already have one, so we're just gonna build a house. But anyway, this is, and I still, the funny thing is, I don't do missions a lot, and yeah, it's kind of bugged that I end up sitting on top of the couch. I want to get some of the better skins, but I just haven't done that yet. But anyway, that's just what I wanted to show you. I'll post this in a little bit.